Madam President, I ask unanimous consent that I speak as if in morning business.
Without objection.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, Senate Democrats have been waiting a very long time to go to conference on our budget. In fact, it has now been 73 days. And until recently, we've gotten pretty used to Senate Republicans just simply standing up and saying no. For months, Republicans have been offering a lot of excuses for why they don't want to go to conference on the budget. They have said they want a pre-conference framework, which, by the way, is what a budget is. They have said they wouldn't allow us to go to conference unless we guaranteed that the wealthiest Americans and biggest corporations would be protected from paying a penny more in taxes. They said they didn't want a bipartisan conference to take away the leverage they have on the debt ceiling. And then they called for a do-over, which actually my ranking member on the budget called for again this morning, to bring up the House budget, have 50 hours of debate, a whole new round of unlimited amendments, go through the process all over again. And they did this after they praised the very open and thorough floor debate we had on the Senate budget. So, Madam President, the story keeps changing. But even as some Republicans were focused on finding excuses to move us closer and closer to this crisis rather than have a budget deal, we have a number of Republicans who are now joining with us to call on regular order. Senator Coburn said that blocking conference is, and I quote, not a good position to be in. Senator Bozeman said, quote, he would very much like to see a conference. Senator Wicker said weeks ago that, quote, by the end of next week, we should be ready to go to conference. So we've known for a while that blocking regular order, especially after calling for it so eagerly just a matter of months ago, was not sitting well with a number of our Republican colleagues. And now, according to Politico, quote, more Republicans appear to favor heading to conference than blocking it. Madam President, I welcome that. We need to move this to conference. It is the regular order. It will allow us to solve our country's problems. And we truly need a process to allow us to deal with our nation's problems. Madam President, Senator McCain is on the floor, and I want to thank him because he understands the importance, not just for this bill, but for all legislation in the Senate, that we come here, we compromise, we fight hard for what we believe in, but at the end of the day, just saying my way or the highway, even if you're a small minority, doesn't move this country to the place where we need it to get to, that isn't a crisis by management places. And I thank him for taking a lead and calling for regular order. And he has said that Republican preconditions like demanding the conference agree to not raise the debt ceiling or raise taxes are absolutely out of line and unprecedented. Senator Collins joined us on the floor a few weeks ago to say that even though there's a lot we don't see eye to eye on, we should at least go to conference and make our best effort to get a deal. Madam President, I couldn't agree more. The stalling that we have seen is, as some have said on their side, a little bizarre and ironic, to say the least, especially after I would remind everyone 50 hours of debate, innumerable amendments that took us way into the early hours. We offered everybody the chance to speak out, and after that session was over, many of our Republican colleagues came to me personally and thanked me for finally having an open process. If they want us to have an open process, then they have to take that process and take it to the next step. So, Madam President, I am deeply concerned. We are moving towards another manufactured crisis this fall. We have our appropriations committees that need to move forward. The country is very clearly tired of this country being managed by crisis. And we just had a budget hearing this morning where our witnesses, both Republicans and Democrats alike, said that moving us to a manufactured crisis would impact this economy in a horrific way this fall. We do not need to have that happen. I want to go to conference. Do I want to have a compromise? Not really. I love where I stand, but I've been here a long time. You don't get everything you want, but you do have to compromise in order to move the country forward. And I am willing to go to conference with my counterpart, Chairman Ryan, who's on a very different page than I am, and find our compromise and be willing to move that forward here in the Congress so we can get to a place that allows us to be able to lead this country again. So, Madam President, I think we're at a very critical point. I see Senator McCain is on the floor. I'd be happy to yield to him for a comment.